So, hey guys, a new law just dropped. If you can imagine, some there is apparently a new feature in the coming patch that has been seen on the PTR called lore walking, and apparently the lore walkers from Pandaria are showing you some past events through a new lens, some new scenarios that show you the history of Azeroth. And so far, I have seen only one of those scenarios, but it's a very interesting scenario. And on the surface, this is a great thing. It's a great idea, great feature to show us some historical events from World of Warcraft and show how it shaped the present. Uh, on the surface, it's a great idea, but I want to talk about this one scenario that we have seen, where you are sent to witness the past of Nyalotha. You are sent to Nyalotha, and you're apparently playing a faceless one in that vision, and you are acting to contain Xal'atath. It shows you what Xal'atath was like before she became the lady with the feet pictures, and it shows you what transpired to imprison her in the knife, in the dagger of the Black Empire. On the surface, it's great. I want to see that. Yes, it's one of those events that you want to see. But then when we get to it, we get to this big scenario at the end of it, where we see all the old gods gathered around her as she's being imprisoned. And I've seen some people complain that the old gods are supposed to be these giant tumors on the planet, that they aren't supposed to be moving around to different places, different dimensions. But that's okay. That's actually okay. Because they can be just like avatars of the old gods, or like some kind of like even projection of a small image. They chose to talk to Xal'atath, to gloat to her before they imprison her. There's nothing wrong with that by itself. But what happens later, that's what's more important there, because after you see that what she looked like before her transformation into the blade and then into the dead voidal she's possessing now. She was basically looking like a basic void revenant. The whole scenario seems to imply that the old gods have somehow rebelled against the Void Lords. It's not said explicitly, but it seems like she's working for the Void Lords, and the old gods are somehow going rogue against them. It's not clear what that means, what that implies. Perhaps it is something like how Azeroth influenced the Earthen and even Arcadas to go against the Titans. Perhaps somehow Azeroth influenced the old gods too and caused them to go rogue against the Void Lords, and that's why they chose those fleshy forms. Perhaps that is what they're implying here, but that's not clear. And also, that is not why I decided to make this video today instead of the usual, what I was planning on, because this is a hot topic that probably a lot of people are talking about right now. And this is largely unscripted, as you can probably tell by me rambling on. What I want to talk about is that after they imprison her in the knife, she goes off and she says something to Zoth, and she says, to paraphrase, "Consider what greatness could be yours if your siblings did not stand in your way. The offer stands." So you see what's happening here. She's saying that to N'Zoth. How do we know this? Because Lord Walker Cho says that apparently only N'Zoth heard this. But we now know this because this tablet says this. So, like, I don't know, did N'Zoth write this down for some reason? If this is a sub-secret plan that he was doing with Xal'atath, why did he write this down? That's just a minor thing. The real problem, like, N'Zoth, the guy who was supposed to be the great corruptor, the great manipulator. It's not enough that the great manipulator got killed by a giant freaking laser beam. Turns out the great manipulator has been manipulated by Xal'atath. It's manipulators all the way down, baby. The manipulator has been manipulated, and I'm wondering, who manipulated Xal'atath? Because surely someone was manipulating her too, right? It's like the jailer playing that is 5D chess, allegedly, where he's been secretly the manipulating force behind the Lich King, behind the Burning Legion, behind everything was the jailer. And then when he's dying, he says, "They are now infamous. The universe, the cosmos divided, cannot stand against what is to come." Like, was he talking about Xal'atath's feet pictures? Or was he manipulated too? No. Wait. The jailer was manipulated by Denathrius, after all. Remember, because Denathrius was the real mastermind. While the jailer was imprisoned, Denathrius was sending the dreadlords all over the cosmos to plant all these things, like plant the Frostborn. So Denathrius was manipulating the jailer. But who was manipulating Denathrius? Maybe it was Xal'atath, or maybe the same person who manipulated Xal'atath manipulated Denathrius. Dude. It's so silly. Like, the lore has been doing like a little bit better in Dragonflight and The War Within. It has been doing a little bit better, but when they drop stuff like this, just another manipulator in the never-ending pile of manipulators. Yeah, that I don't really have any other comments for this. Besides, usually my videos is how I fixed this and that for World of Warcraft for a TTRPG. No, how I fixed in my reboot of the setting. Well, this scene probably isn't happening. It's probably Xal'atath probably wasn't manipulating Xal'atath. And Xal'atath is probably not going to die to a giant freaking laser beam. The whole scene when the old gods are talking to Xal'atath, and Xal'atath is talking back to them, it makes them so human. I'm all about humanizing evils. No, the Thunder King, in my version, the Thunder King was just a sexist piece of crap. When they retconned the twin emperors, not the twin emperors, this is different thing. They later called them the twin Empyreans, the twin consorts. They originally called them the twin consorts, because turns out Lei Shen had 2 sex slaves in his palace, and they retconned them to twin Empyreans to be his greatest allies or something, because they thought that was creepy for him to have like 2 sex slaves in his dungeon. And yeah, sure, that's creepy, but maybe that's the point. That he's a bad guy. He does bad things, That's the point. This is a general problem with fiction overall these days, that bad guys aren't allowed to do bad things. Because the audience finds it creepy or bad. That's the point of being a bad guy, But I'm getting off the point that I was making, that this scene makes the old gods too human. They feel too human. While I humanized Lei Shen greatly, I made him very bad in very human ways. In Lei Shen, in my version, there was a lot of that pride, there was a lot of that arrogance, but with that pride and arrogance also came very human faults, very human issues. Like, he was just a horrible sexist piece of crap. That's just what he was. There's nothing wrong with a bad guy being a horrible person. But when you humanize the old gods are supposed to be these eldritch abominations, these cosmic horrors that are incomprehensible to human minds, And while a guy like Lei Shen should be humanized, should be given more human motivations, the old gods, the whole draw to them is that they're these cosmic beings whose motives, whose thought processes are incomprehensible to us. And the way I see it, the old gods genuinely see what they're doing to us as a good thing. Like, they genuinely think that turning us into these abominations is a good thing because they're making them more like us. Like, this is this very orange and blue morality. But also, they don't have really, like, these big schemes, big plots, like, that you could understand, like Xal'atath coming up to this author and going to him on the side and, psst, hey, you know, if you stab them in the back, you could totally win this shit. Like, this is not how Eldritch Abominations, how Eldritch Horrors are supposed to work, you know? And the Great Manipulator shouldn't be manipulated. Like, this oath should be the top dog of the whole manipulation game on Azeroth. Sure, he was sent by the Void Lords to Azeroth to corrupt Azeroth, so he has, like, masters he's responding to. But she shouldn't be just being manipulated like a rube, like manipulated like the guy in, what's the song called, Hallowfall. The guy in Hallowfall who's being manipulated by Xal'atath. That shouldn't be happening to this oath. He should be the chief top manipulator. Anyway, that's the end of my rant for today. That's the end of it for today. So that's the new lore coming up at the future patch. Hope you enjoy another manipulator added to the top of the list. It's manipulators all the way down, baby. And they're going to keep adding new ones. I hope to see you again next time when I'm doing something more creative with World of Warcraft.